Well, again, thanks for joining us this afternoon. And just go over a few housekeeping things. Your microphones are muted, so we're not able to hear you. Also, the video is not available. We can't see you, and you can't see us. But we do ask that you please use the chat to ask questions during the program. And we do ask that participants, please be respectful when asking or making comments, because everyone can see those. And I will share the presentation screen, rest of it momentarily, when I get the right button. There we go. Well, thanks for joining us this afternoon, an introduction to family search. This is about learning the basic site navigation and discovering some tools to help research your family genealogy using FamilySearch.org. My name is Trey, and I'm being assisted today on chat with Jess. And we're going to launch into it. Again, I'll remind, if you have any questions or something you want me to back up for, just drop it in the chat, and Jess will flag me, and I can back up and repeat if necessary. So for the afternoon, what we're going to be going through, we're just going to discover some of the basic family search resources, just identifying basics of where to start, learn some basic site navigation, and discover some helpful learning tools that they have embedded in their site as well. I really encourage everyone to just take time to go explore this resource. You're not going to break it. So just go explore, open it up, and just get lost. It's kind of like getting in the car and just going for a drive, and we're going to go west. Just get into the website, take it for a drive, see where you end up, explore. So Family Search. So what is it? Family Search is a nonprofit family history center. It's freely accessible. You'll be able to access this, remotely from home or from the library, one of the public computers. You don't have to be in the library to access this. You can create your free account online and have a lot of access to a lot of cool features. It has, according to their site, they have historical record collections from 655 AD until today. And there's over 7 billion names from worldwide in their databases. So Family Search is an international nonprofit family history organization that's provided by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and it's dedicated to helping everyone discover their family history. They want to be the largest family genealogical resource out there. And it, like I said, you just need to create your free account, and it does not require use through the library. I can't stress that enough. You can think of this at 2 a.m, log in and go to town and research. And I'll note, because they note it, that Family Search does not share or sell your information with outside parties. But they might email you hints and suggestions to help you with your search and your research for your family. Family Search resources provide one with the ability to search the digitized information across the United States, as well as many other countries. And they have digitized information for countries from around the world. You can explore Family Search collections and resources from a variety of entry points. And just some of their statistics, there's one of the cool features, and we'll talk about this in a little bit, is the family tree feature. It's open, it's shared, and it's a feature that everyone can view and edit. And that's the key thing. It's, if you start a family tree on your Family Search account, everyone can see it. Everyone can edit. Everyone can add to it or take away. So that's something to think about. It's completely open and social. They do note that the records, if you put a family member on your family tree that's a living relative. Those are only visible to you if you add them. So a little bit of identity safety there. And as I mentioned, there's over 7 billion searchable names throughout the historical records, and there's over 1.3 billion digital images that are not indexed. But there's ways to browse those images. It's kind of a deep dive, but it's interesting. And they note that they add anywhere from 350 to 500 million records are added each year to their database. And also, it's worth noting here that about 90% of the records on Family Search, or I guess I should say 90% of the records that are on Family Search and Ancestry.com are different. I know there's some people that think that some of the search features kind of look similar, but really and truly, 90% of the records do not overlap. They're different. So about the 10% or maybe some government records that are public and open source that they access, but 90% of the records are different. So Family Search has some unique materials that they're searching, as well as Ancestry. So, it's not a one or the other. It's kind of search both, explore both. So some of the things that we'll find as we jump over into the Family Search is, well, they've got free online consultation that they note. So you get stuck on something or need some assistance with understanding some records or how to research the records, they got some resources to help you understand and help you navigate. Some of the basic sections, as I noted, the family tree. In each of these sections, the family tree, search, memories, they have some of their own unique tabs within these sections too, subsections within the sections. Can't say that fast. So it's the family tree. You've got your main search. You've got a memories, indexing, and activities. As well as there's also a blog that they put out, and there's also volunteer opportunities. So if you think you might want to help index resources that have been digitized but not yet text searchable because they haven't been indexed, you might dedicate some time and maybe help them out. They've got a whole tutorial on that kind of stuff too. And then there's a solutions gallery, which has links to a lot of other resources that are external to Family Search, kind of some allied organizations and resources. So I am going to jump over to the familysearch.org website, and if you just type in the www.familysearch.org into your browser of choice, this is probably the landing page you're going to see. Well, at least we're hoping it's the landing page you're going to see. So you'll start out with their landing page, starting out wanting you to sign up for your free account, and that's fine. If you already have it, you've got a login feature. And like I said, you've got a family tree, some of the basics navigation here at the top. You could jump in with searching records, sure. There's a whole fun way if you just want to jump in and meet. So sorry. If you just want to jump in immediately and start searching. Sorry about that. But let's go on and log in. If you've got you a login, and I've got ours created here. So now we've logged in and we're exploring our family search login. So they send you a whole bunch of information. The web page kind of changes configuration here, and you've got a lot of. You scroll down, and you've got a lot of things to choose from. We're just going to start here with real quickly with the family tree. So like I said, you've got subsections under the different sections. So in the family tree, you've got an overview, and you've got other options to navigate. We're just going to go to the overview for starters. And this gives you a whole bunch of background for what family tree is, what the family tree is to family search. And then they have some really easy tutorials of how to build your tree and collaborate with others and connect with family members. And then of course they have some articles, some postings with some of the updates and things that they have updated, and some new news that may be of interest. Now going into the tree, it's not going to be very useful because I'm not using a real name account here. So if you had already created your free account and you're John Smith, you're logged in, you go to the tree and it's already going to be starting to populate some information for a family tree. And then you get to build and discover on top of that. Right now it's kind of limited because first name senior, last name librarian, not a real person. But it thinks so because that's the account we created. But you can see the visual representation of how you can add a spouse, you can add additional members to your family tree. And you've got some additional find options. When you get to a point where you might not know where that tree goes from there, you can try some of these other options. Let's see here. You can do some search to try to make those connections. Same with the children, you can add children. Oops. And on the spouses, you can go in and start adding under the spouses branch of the family. Any questions so far? Don't think so.
None so far.
Okay. Now, since this information would undoubtedly be yours since you started your account, and it would be populated with something more useful than this nonsense of this placeholder name. So you can kind of see where you can add it and add details for your own. And you can add some things like a life sketch. You can write a brief biography of yourself should you want. And you can also uncover some recents, which is not really going to work because it's not a real name. You can see if there's other people. You can imagine John Smith would be a lot of different families with a John Smith. Not all of them would obviously be related, but many different family. So it would be a challenge to try to find those connections. You can also do the find your deceased ancestor. So you can do some search through here. Or you can follow. Once you discover some connections in the tree that have been created by others, you can follow their research and see what they add. You have some social kind of connections that you can make, and you can see your contributions. And of course, you can see the private people. If you added a living relative, they would of course be here. That would be private, not seen on the family tree that's public. And just some statistical data, which is kind of going into a deep dive. So that's the family tree. A lot of people ask about the family tree. It's worth just an explore. And I would suggest, follow some of their guides. They have a lot of articles to read. Just explore some of those. Kind of learn how to best leverage the family tree for your research. It can be useful. When I did it for my family, I had already had my family tree, the forms, the pages I had filled out as best as I could, and with the connections that I was able to research and document. But there was some gaps, some holes, and some gaps and holes with when a marriage took place, or when a date of birth for a particular relative may have been, things like that, and was able to fill in some of those blanks with connecting research that others had done within the family, that they had information that they were able to fill in some gaps, and that was very helpful. That in turn helped me add information that I had been missing, and in turn helped me go back, and now that I had a missing piece of information, I was able to research further and find some more information and make further connections. So very useful in that. Of course, the search, like I said, you've got the search. You can go into you can search by records, images. You can search the family tree, catalog, books, research through the wiki. We just go through the records, and that's kind of like if you hadn't signed into your account and you just want to go, I'm going to go search. Kind of the same place they're gonna dump you here. So you can search the historic records that is indexed within Family Search. You can also, have so many entry points to the information from different angles that it's easy to get lost, sure, but it's also very fun to explore. It's kind of sort of can be a deep dive, but you can see how these are highlighting the different countries and continents. I guess more continents than countries at this point, but the regions highlight as I move the cursor through. If you click on those, let's see here, look at Canada, click on that, and so it shows 14 locations where you can drill down on some information. If we do the US, of course, it's going to open it up to the various states. Choose Texas here. And so now we're opening up and we're searching through Texas historical records. And you can scroll down here, and so they've already queued up a whole bunch of records for you. Like they've got 17 million Texas birth index, 1903 to 1997. 7 million in the deaths index from 1903 to 2000. Keep going, you've got historical records, images only. And that's another subset. They may not have it indexed and the text transcribed, but you might be able to go through and just browse the actual images of sets of records. And those can be interesting and time consuming as you go down the rabbit hole and doing your research, but there's some tricks and some patience involved. You see we got probate and court records. So they've thrown out a bunch of information because we've clicked on Texas off the map as our entry point into the records. Census, taxation, voter list. As you keep going, it's tons of stuff. Church histories. And let's just For that, we're going to do the 100 years of the Alto Methodist Church. Gives the little bibliography about what is contained here. Tells you it's church history. Let's see if it actually takes us to the digital version here. Yes. Whoops. Okay, what did it do? Well, it tried. Looked like it opened up and then went away. Okay, view all. So it's a brief 49-page history of the Alto, I'm sorry, don't know how to pronounce that, Methodist Church. And you can scroll through and view the pages. Table of contents, probably something small like this doesn't have an index on its own probably, but oops. Yeah, so that's kind of one way, and it tells you what the owning institution is. So Houston Public Library has that in their collections. So I'm going to exit out of that. Again, I'm going to go back here to just the records here. So you could also just have your entry points by your name, birthplace, pretty standard stuff. And you can add in alternate names. And searching with relationship or county. If you want to kind of narrow down and restrict by known counties or states, if you're broader. Real simple. So with Explore Images, sorry, I kind of probably did that too fast without giving you all a heads up. So I'm going now from the records to the images under the search. And there's like this scrolling number here that keeps growing if they're adding images and counting. So let's see. Let's see what we've got here. Maybe, I don't know, shot in the dark. Or maybe it's County Colin. Oh, yes, my bad. So we're going to load the results of the image search. So you can see there's a fair amount of images for Collin County from 1846 through 1911 here. A lot of different options as you scroll through. School records, deed records, civil court records. So these are all the scans and images of documents. Let's see if these school records have. And so they'd have something like this. And one thing is to, this is like record one, image one rather, of 1023 for the school record. So this is looks like the Plano Princeton school records. Plano school records. Oh, Princeton. Okay, so we're looking at the Princeton school records. Looks like it's all kind of lumped in here. 1923 to 1969. And this is a good time to point out when you're looking at images and you're looking and pulling up records, on the database and looking at the actual image. And you found in a record somewhere that you're looking for page 422. Well, page 422 might not be well, it's not might, it definitely probably will not be. Does that even count as language? These are imaged in the order that they imaged all the pages, so they're going to include something like this: a target page or a bibliography page. Blank pages will be counted, even though within the record itself those pages may or may not be counted. So your page 422 might actually be on image 430 or 440. You never know. So just keep that in mind. And these aren't exactly numbered either, because it's not like a typical book. So then you get to see the actual school record card on something like this. Kind of wild and random in a deep dive. But that's just an example of what's possible. So I'm going to go back. Whoops. Go back to the search here. So just under the search, now we're going to look at the family tree search. See, this looks familiar. You know, we were in the family tree section and had a similar kind of search available to us, and here it is presented again. So that, like I said, there's multiple access points into the information. Go back to search and do the genealogies. Same way, here's the searching the genealogies as they describe that genealogies are trees submitted to Family Search that can help you fill out your family lines within a family tree. And I cannot remember if this is the tool that I had used to fill in the blanks, or if once I had, trying to remember, if I had done when I had done my tree or was playing around with it, I was able to, I don't know, follow the analogy of a tree, branch out and bush out the the limb of the family with information. But I can't remember if I had done it here to start or if it's something the Family Search will prompt you with suggestions. You know, they see it computes and looks at all the data and then goes, you might have a connection here. I just cannot remember. Sorry, it's been too long ago. I should have tried to remember that. And then here's some helpful guides about the genealogies and what the different sections, how they're organized, and what those what kind of records to be expected, what kind of information you can find in the different types of files. So that's helpful. Then you've got the catalog. So this is the digitized books, online materials, microfilm, microfiche publications, as they say here. And these what's been made available by Family Search online or in the libraries and Family Search centers worldwide. So here's another access point. Keyword search to really open it up broadly. Just to take a stab in the dark and let's see what we got. Quite a few things here. Just doing a keyword for Collin County. We come up with a Collin County Genealogical Society newsletter, book publication. I'm assuming that's a book publication, Men and Women in World War II from Collin County. Quite a other marriage records, county records, minutes, county court minutes and index deed records, probate documents, but you also have some information of a cemetery. So if you're looking for, let's see what this is. So it's a book or a monograph on a Cottage Hill Cemetery. Kind of help you narrow in, and if you have family buried in that cemetery or from the region, you might be able to now cross-reference that with something else and locate records. At least right there, points you where you can find possible history of the cemetery, and hopefully a map, perhaps, of the cemetery. So you've got a lot of records to choose from. Here's more newsletters. Let's go way over here. Here's some family. I believe this would be a book on a family history of the Cave family. Here's some notes talking about what the books would cover and some of the related families that might be found in the publication. So you've got some interesting items that you can randomly discover, or not so randomly. When you first start out, you're probably going to randomly discover. That's the best way to learn of kind of how to poke around and find things you're interested in finding. You just play with it for a while. That's really play and learn. Because like I said, you're not going to break this. Not at all. Then the Family Search has the book search, where they can search the digital library. And like I said earlier, and this is what I say, this I'm trying to be one of the largest genealogical libraries in the world, with access to tons of stuff. There's just some of the libraries around that could help. And there is a Family Search research wiki. This is pretty cool. You've got it around. Let's list all. So this is a list of all the localities that have a resource guide. That's a lot of countries, a lot of regions. So if you get stuck and you're looking and trying to trace and find the family connection from when they came into the U.S. at a point in the past, and you get stuck once you get to that point of origin, you might find a resource guide of where or how to research further. And then it looks like it opens up further. Yeah. So in some of the larger countries, it opens up, like Brazil opens up in the larger regions and states. So quite interesting. Africa, same way, you can just click on the main continent. It opens up more information. South African states, you can really drill down and find some stuff. Let's see, Belgium. And then opening up and selecting one of them kind of more or less at random here. It gives you some interesting background. It has articles on research methods, little history of the country. A lot of good details that kind of give you some clues of how the country organizes its data, what could be expected to be found, and where. Or in this case, where to write to for looking for records, what to send. So this is a very good good helpful information, especially if you're doing the research and extending past the U.S. borders and getting into the original countries of origins and really digging into the family history of old. So I've been kind of droning on. Is there any questions so far? Oops, something crashed here.
We have got no questions.
Okay, let's see. So indexing. Okay, is this index? Oh, overview. So in indexing, this is what I was telling you about. Indexing is what makes records searchable online. And this is one of those areas where you can find a project to help with. As they say here, there's over 100 projects from all over the world. So find a project that you're willing to help with and can help with. They've got guided tours. They got more information. If they're looking for volunteers, do the web indexing. So they've got web indexing tutorials. They've got, of course, this is just a class account, but if you were helping, I'm assuming you would have, I've never actually looked at this with anybody's login, so I'm assuming here it would show your progress of your work that you're helping with indexing. Again, that's to find the program, but here's the indexing help, the guided tour, articles. Or is here the having difficulty reading the scribbles, helping you with the language and handwriting helpful things. I can't read those scribbles. And then there's also a community help forum. So there's some cool resources. And then of course, you've got the blog down here at the bottom with recent articles. And is it still down here at the, whoops, back up one. I think I've bypassed, yeah, here's the, the link to with the volunteers takes you to the volunteer opportunities with Family Search, if that's something that's in your interest. From translation of content, research volunteer, indexing historical records, or as a product tester. You've got get as involved as you want to with it. And of course, they got the site map. Opens up everything all together for quick navigation. If you want to play with it, open up the site map and just kind of deep dive into each little portion and explore, because there's multiple points to multiple entry points into the searching for the information. And then of course, I mentioned lastly was the solutions gallery. And this generally points to a lot of external resources. Some paid, some not, just as kind of a, hey, this might be some allied resources or tools that you might find useful in your research. And that is pretty much the basics and the long and short of it. Let's see what this was. I forgot. Oh yeah, this is not going to be helpful because it's trying to look for the first name senior and last name librarian, but if it was a real person's name, you would have all sorts of interesting little things to click on and find out about. I don't even know why I chose 1985. It was a random thing. So you have some little interesting trivia that they will populate some information. So apparently I'm not the only librarian who is using librarian as a class name. So apparently there's 706 more people. So it wasn't a unique idea. So is there anything else? Thank y'all for attending today. We appreciate y'all's time this afternoon. And if you have any questions, please feel free to look us up at the Plano Public Library's Genealogy Center.